Camera looks pretty decent. So we're gonna go to training, and we'll go to the shooting range. So, this is a video that a lot of people asked for me to do, is how to improve your skills contesting with frontlines. Because a lot of people have a problem with frontlines, whether playing them or playing against them. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying that the meta is really based around frontlines, that frontlines are so hard to contend with. So, I have some pointers that I kind of want to work with and have you guys help out.
Of each member is the team.
We're gonna pick Khan to start, and I just wanna show off a couple of tricks. One thing, I'm gonna put it in third person. I don't normally do it in third person, so you have to forgive me. For one thing, let's start with this. Being a frontline involves mentality. A lot of games that you see me play as a frontline where I get really pumped and no, get the fuck off my point. Those type of games, that's a frontline mentality. Aggression, bulldozing, anger, that seething rage. You put a lot of time into it as this is your point. They're trying to take your point. You defend that point. That's a frontline mentality. Frontline and flanks have the best mentality in the game. I love frontline flank because the mentality is so awesome. We will have another video for flank, so I'm going to say flank mentality for there. But what you need to realize for a frontline, let me try and find... See, I'm not used to the training area. Probably here. So looking at this type of a setup right here. Let's pretend that this is the objective right here. So I've got Fernando right in front of me. You know, my objective as a tank. What is my objective? That's the first thing. I think a lot of things that people forget is tank fear. Tanks are all about scaring the fuck out of you. If you're Ying and I'm Khan and I walk up on you like this, you gonna turn around and run. Like, you gonna turn around and run. And I'm gonna go, ah! And chuck your ass. Oh, I have to kill her to reset her? Really? Alright, fine. Alright.
Keep up the good work.
And then you've got Sky. Sky want to sneak up behind me. Well, I got my shield up. And I turn around, I pulled out my gun, and blam! And the bitch is dead. How about, you know, just... And then we've got this fucker over here. Ooh, I got my shield up, I'm blocking damage, He gonna sit here and spray me with fire, thinking he's so fucking, oh yeah, I'm all this shit, and I just turn around, and this is what I do.
You're mine, little man.
I just chuck him off my point.
Killing spree.
And I kill him. So, tanks revolve around fear. What is the tank's job? Let's start with that. I think a better example, I need to go over to, I believe it's, yeah, this room right here. So, by the way, Fernando over here is going to die a lot. Here's your point right here. What's the tank's job? Protect that point. Shield up, defend the point. That's not all they do. Let's turn them off. So, I gotta defend this point right here. But it's not just that as a front line. Your job as a frontline is more than that. Your job is to absorb damage, is to absorb bullets. My job is to sit there in front of Fernando here. Let's say Fernando's my healer. My job is to sit here with my shield up and say, no, you don't get to kill him. Okay? My job is the tanks and the damage, all the little mice that run by, those little scurrying flanks and damages they run by. Let's say that's Fernando over here. Boom! Firing line, have that CC immunity, have that damage boost, have that heal. Go kill something now. You know, a tank's job is really to support the team. Tanks run the game. But do they? Tanks are all about fear and aggression and sustain. You have to look at a tank's build. And I want you to carefully look at this. Look at the champion skills. All tanks have a base set of skills. Most tanks, except Torvald and Anar, have an escape ability. That's your commander's grab. Is it primarily an escape ability? No. But high-level players use it as an escape ability. Same thing. Battle Shout, that's your wild card. We're not going to count that. Bulwark, there's your defensive option. There's your shielding. You know what he has? L1, sustain. L2, defense. R3, mobility. R2, damage. Damage, sustain, defense. That's what tanks do. Close range damage. Close range damage with sustain. Whether it's staying through defenses, no matter what. Look at, let's go change champions. So you look at your champions. Look at Ashe. What does Ashe have? She has sustain. How does she have sustain? Her shielding's not great. She has knockback. She can keep you away from her if she wants. If she wants you in close, she keeps you in close. She comes to you with shoulder bash. She has mobility with her shoulder bash as an in-out escape option. She has sustain because she can keep you back. Barrack has his turrets. He's not a defensive tank. He's really not. His turrets are there for his sustain. You build them up in your loadout to heal you. And you heal them. He has escape options. I'm very tired. I've been up since 2 a.m. You'll have to deal with me yawning. Fernando. He has sustain. He has a power ultimate that gives him 4 seconds of immunity, basically. He's got a big-ass shield that can be built and beefy. Makoa, same thing. His ult is almost an instant revive. If you get it off at 1 health, you come back with 10,000 health, and you kill somebody, hopefully. Not to mention the fact he has shielding, he has damage. One of the things you have to look at, probably with the exception of Ashe and Torvald, all of your damage, all of your tanks can be built in some way for high damage capability. That's another thing you've got to look at. I am going to switch to a Nora here, by the way, while I can.
I have many credits.
Tetris, go. No, Tetris gonna use me. Nara is one of those tanks that instills fear, and this is mostly based around Terminus, why so many people ban Terminus in competitive, and it pisses me off. And the amount of people say, oh, you should ban Terminus, no. Let me put it this way. I have no fear of a tank because I can play every tank. My lowest level tank is Ashe at 22. My highest level is Inara at 37. When I say I can and play every tank, I back that statement up. I have 4 tanks over level 30. And another one right around the corner in Makoa. So I do have a little bit of a cheat sheet script that's like this post-it note size piece of paper that I'm running off of. One thing I want to talk to you about is countering tanks. First off, in order to counter a tank, you have to understand it. Now that's not, oh, you have to play a tank. Oh, you have to understand their build. That simply has to do with knowing how tanks operate. What is a tank's strength? Well, a lot of people think a tank's strength is their sustain from healing. No, it's not. It's their health. I mean, why does tanks have such high health? They have such high health because, you know, that's their job. Their job is to take damage. A lot of people that don't want to play tank because they want the glory, the kills of the damage and the flank. It's bullshit right there. Flank tanks are annoying as fuck to go up against because they may not be fast, they don't need to be. They get up in your face with a high health pool and they make you run away. You cannot outdamage them. I'm sorry, you can't. If you have a Terminus hitting you for almost 700 a swing every second, and you're Victor, now yes, you get off 10 shots a second. He can shield, you can't. You gotta run away. You gotta create distance. He can sit there and hit you with Calamity Blast and shield your damage and swing his axe and shatter his fall to come get you as you're running away. Good luck. Flank tanks are annoying, and they use that fear of them being a close range juggernaut with high health. Oh no, what am I gonna do? They have such sustain, they have such power. And that moment of panic. That's how flank tanks get kills. Tanks love aggression. Tanks love sustain. You deny them this. Another thing tanks love is complacency. I'm a Nara. I get to sit on this fucking point. Put the wall up in front of me, activate Mother's Grave, drop my cripple field. Hey, you're over here. Boom, ult. tanks love consistency. I don't move. I'm a point tank on a gnar. Okay? I sit, I pluck, I pump. I can't even fucking speak. I put my ass on that point, and I don't move until my ass is dead, or the point starts moving with me because I've captured it. Tanks like stay and take it. Good tanks like stay and take it, I should say. Good tanks are the stay and take it of, I'm gonna sit here, put my shield up, say no fuck you, you come to me. Tanks, a lot of people think, how do you counter a tank? A lot of people think range, so...
I have many credits.
I don't care if I have many credits. Yes, here we go. So, I'm a tank, right? That Strix right over there.
Be gone!
Okay? That bitch that I just shot over there. Let's say that's Strix. You think, okay, we're gonna load up on tank power. So what are you gonna do to counter that? You're gonna run range. You're gonna run Leon. You're gonna run Cassie. You're gonna run Shaolin. You're gonna run Canessa. You're gonna run Strix. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Did I say it was wrong? I said it was wrong. You wanna know why tanks love range characters? You would think, oh, okay, so look at how little damage I'm doing. I'm doing 68 damage a shot back here. I step further back. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's, oh my god, 68 a shot. No, whatever am I gonna do? That's what I do. Oh, what's that? You want to kill me? No, you have to come close to me. So then Strix, let's say this is Strix. Strix walks right up to my face, and you know what I do?
This is my domain. Like this.
That's exactly what I do. I cripple his ass, and I kill him, because he got up in my face, which is what I wanted. Tanks love long-range characters, because they stay the fuck away from them. Now, obviously, an Eagle Eye, Canessa, or a very good Strix, they're going to make you pay. Because they're going to pop you for, you know, 1,000 to 2,000 a shot. But what you have to realize is that's not the norm. You don't pick a long-range character because you don't want to have to get up close and deal with a tank. Pick a long-range character because long-range character is what's needed. Stonekeep is a map that I absolutely love when people play long-range characters because I just sit there and I hold the point, and I'm sorry I moved the microphone there with my hand motion, whatever. Tanks are about sustain. Now, you don't have to deny them that. It's hard to do. A lot of people don't like playing tank because you know, one of the common reasons, they don't get the glory, they don't get the kills. Well, that's not my problem. If you don't get the glory and you don't get the kills, that's fine. You're a tank, your job is to sit on the point, right?
I have many credits.
We said this is the point right over here. We made our own little point right here. My job as a tank, I sit on this point. I'm not Cassie. I'm not going to sit there and shoot you and kill you. My job is to sit on this. Sit on this thing right here until I capture it. Just reset the Cassies because they piss me off. The firing noise in the background kind of annoys me, and I don't want to mute my TV. I'm lazy right now. So yeah, that's a tank's job. If you don't like the fact that you're not going to get kills all the time, don't play tank. Another example, if you are one of those people that you don't like getting shot at, you don't like taking damage, you're not gonna like tank. Tanks don't have high health because they don't like getting shot at. A tank like a Nara doesn't sit there in the lower corner there with 45, 50 health saying, oh no, wait, here we go. Let me make this more interesting. Oh no! Cassie, no! Stop! Oh, the damage! Oh, the humanity! I don't know why that automatically happened. As I sat there and took about 10 freaking rounds from Cassie. Tanks don't sit there and say, we don't like taking damage. No! That's why we have such high health pools. That's why we have balls. That's why we have shields. Don't buy that. Now you know what tanks like. Let's talk about how to work around that. Now, I'm going to use a lot of fighting terms. CC is rather controversial right now because a lot of people don't value CC. I present to you Bam. Bams. Give me the basket, Bams. Bams. Bams! Bomb King. Bomb King and Tyra, I've been told recently by a large number of people, are two of the worst champions in the game because they're CC-based attacks. Bomb King's CC is too easily countered, and Tyra's Fireball makes her a one-trick pony. Right? So, here's Fernando over here. We're going to play around with Fernando here. He's on the point, right? You know what we do to Fernando's? Actually, no. I need to get to a better position. I'm being flip-floppy. Get over it. I'm using this as a training tool. I was going to try and rope a friend of mine into it, but I don't have the money to pay him for this, and I'm getting paid for this, so I don't. Alright, so we got Fernando over here, right? So, CC attacks, I'm going to use a lot of fighting terms right here, and it'll all make sense in the end. You just got to bear with me, and I'm going to try and break it down as basic as I can. So let's start with CC attacks are your juggles, right? This does nothing on its own. That's what it does. It sets up burst damage, right? Another thing is knockback. Alright, so my Poppy Bomb. Bye! See you later! Get off my point! Go away! Sayonara! Sayonara! Hey! Well, goodbye! Bye! That's fun, I'm sorry. By the way, you can't sue me for that, because I'm using this under fair use. This is my own artistic interpretation of shit. I'm leery of you, YouTube. I know what you do. Just keep fucking popping him while I'm at it. We're just gonna keep popping Fernando while we're at it. But CC attacks are your setups. That is what you use to juggle. If you look at what I do, Grumpy, chuck a bomb, detonate, and then burst. He comes out, boom. He's one hit. Well, 2 hits. I missed that horribly. That is how you want to use CC-based attacks. You want to use CC-based attacks as a setup punch, a gut punch. A good example is against Anara. Anara can be stunned very quickly if you are able to do that. Anara can use her crowd control to kill, unlike Bomb King. True. My point is strictly, I get told a lot of times that CC is useless in this game. I get a lot of PC Master Race people that tell me that CC has literally no effect in the game because of cons and groks and things of that nature. And to be honest, not a lot of people are really buying Resilience. Resilience is one of the least bought in the defensive category. Haven and Blast Shields are usually 1 and 2, and Resilience is a third, somewhere in the middle. Illuminate's only chosen if you have a Sky or a Strix. And what I try and tell people is, what is a tank's worst nightmare? Tanks like consistency. They like to sit there on the point with their shield up. He's got his shield up right now, Bomb King chucks it, shields go down. Tyra, same thing. Almost every damage character has some form of a good CC-based attack. Now, you know, Victor does it, Vivian does it, things of that nature. But the other champions, for the most part, all have something. Shaolin with Impaler / exploding arrows. Cassie with disengage. You know, another good example. Willow. Willow's different. We're not going to include Willow. She's a different threat to tanks. Willows don't fuck around with tanks for the most part. They can, especially if you run the anti-shielding card. Like, he puts his shield up, if he has his shield up right now, okay, pretend I'm playing Willow, and I just chuck that in there, and say bye-bye to his shield. On an Aegis build, Fernando, Willow with the anti-shield card, dead zone, your shield is dead, say bye-bye to your sustainability as a tank. You can't heal, you can't shield, you just have to sit there and become damage. But CC attacks are your setups. Another thing you want to do is force outs. Now, this is the point I was going to build to with Tyra. Remember, I said I would work my way back. Tyra is all about force outs. We're going to change our champion. I'm going to switch to Tyra. Tyra's a different type.
I can
so,
afford more supplies.
what you have to realize is tanks like consistency. Well, how do you annoy a tank?
Burn, monster.
Force him off the point. Fernando's sitting there on the point. He does not want to sit and take that fire. He doesn't want to do it. Why? Well, his healer's shit. He's got Catalyst Pip, Exterminate Furia, Resonance Ying, and just for the hell of it, he's got a Drogo flying around, emoting in the air or some stupid shit like that. Fernando is hard carrying this team. He's got healers that aren't doing shit, and the last thing Fernando wants is for my annoying Tyra ass to walk up, look down at the ground, emote, and then chuck the firebomb and walk.
Careful, I bite back.
And he's dead. Just like that. And it forces him to leave. Take the damage or leave. Take the damage or leave. You're hard pressed to out heal that. Or it uses his ult. And that's another thing. There's 5 terms I like to use with frontlines. You have your force outs, your nulls, your counters, your juggles, and zoning. Tanks love range. Why? They're all good at close range. Right? Ash, unless you are on a sniper build, close range. Barrack, unless you have him slugshot, close range. Fernando, with the exception of his fireball, which is 3 to 6 second cooldown, close range. Makoa, close range. Yes, you can arc your shots. I know you do have a lot more long range capacity, but think about it. Consistent damage, close range. Khan, he's probably one of the longest range. In my opinion, he is the longest range of the tanks, but still, close range. Anara, relatively close range. Again, she's a longer range character. This video is dedicated to Terminus, but the number of inane idiots that ban Terminus in competitive play, you don't need to ban Terminus. People get scared of Terminus because all his damage is close range axe swings. And a close range ult. If people don't fear Barrack's ult, why do people fear Terminus's ult? Think about it. It's a close range ult designed to get you off the point. He's a force out tank in and of himself. His job is to knock you off. His job is to make you not want to be on that point around him. His job is to sit there and say, you're not staying on my point. Again, Sky and Ying over here. Do you think they're gonna come onto the point with me swinging my hefty axe saying, get the hell off my point? You over there, you stupid little thing, get off my point. Force out. You need to counter that. CC attacks are your juggles. They set up further damage. CC attacks are your force outs. They force people away. A lot of tanks run away from Tyra firebombs. They run away from Bomb King. He chucks the grumpy bomb out. You know, Shaolin's that get... Even Shaolin, this is a CC attack, but I want to mention this. Shaolin going planted in the middle of a point annoys the hell out of Makoas, and Fernando's, and Anara's. If some of their abilities that they need are on cooldown, they do not like Shaolin on planted. It's saying there, pew, 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 and you're dead. Well, good Shaolins, that is. Not the trash Shaolins that I see that plant themselves facing a wall and spend half of their time having to spin around in order to hit planted. That's stupid. Zoning is another thing that's important. Mid-range champions like Victor, well, you would say, well, you're talking so much about CC-based attacks. Why would I play Victor or Vivian ever? Zoning. You don't want to stay long range because that's what a tank wants, and you don't necessarily want to get close range because, again, that's where they excel in damage. Mid-range is key. Leons are great because of death and taxes, and they're primarily a mid-range champion. They don't have a lot of damage fall off in mid-range. She's got a lot of auto hit, so she's very low skill in terms of mid-range if your accuracy's poor outside of close range. So she's a champion that, a bit lazy champion, but she's a champion that you can use effectively as a good zoning champion. If they're being annoyed by you, that forces them off the point. If they're not being annoyed by you. You know, Terminus, I love Shadowfall 4. I run Shadowfall 4 on this build because it lets me hunt down flanks like that. But you want to know what makes it annoying? is when I have to use Shatterfall to go kill the flank that the rest of the team won't do. Another thing that force outs and CC-based attacks lead to are, and this specifically goes back to Bomb King, so we're going to switch again. I don't care. I'm boring you right now because all I'm doing is sitting and talking. You know what annoys people about Bomb King? He can force you to use your ult in a situation you don't want to do. That's what really annoys people. This is what I call countering and nulling. First you have to counter someone, then you null them. So countering them is as simple as making them use an ability they don't want to. So, Fernando right here. Give your king a big hug! Hey, hey, hey!
Triple kill.
Wow.
Killing spree.
I wiped them all out? Oh, shit. That's kind of nice. I don't know why Fernando died to my ult. It only deals 2,400 health, but I will take it. Anyways, enough of that weird Fernando glitch. Yeah, I just got thrown off there. What did I just do right there? My of most Fernandos I know, oh my god, no, pumpkin ult, and they activate their ult so they don't die. He didn't use his ult to save his team. He could have saved Ying over here. He could have saved Sky over here. But he did it. And I just poppied them off. Bah! Bah! Go off the edge! Your fucking Fernando forsook you! That's not a word. I don't care. I think it's forsaken. I don't care. I'm tired. Shut up. We're producing this. So, that's a counter. Now you null him. Now he's burned his ult. Now he has no way to defend himself against my follow-up. So I just use my ult on Bomb King to force him to use him. Now I counter. Now we've nulled and countered. Now comes the Grumpy. Bye. Stun. You can't counter the Grumpy without the ult. My Grumpy takes down your shield as well. So, that's a good counter to Fernando's. And that's what countering frontlines is. You don't necessarily have to know how a frontline works in order to counter them. You just have to know what frontlines like and what you are good with. That's why I tell people I would rather have somebody play a damage, even if we don't have a tank. Play a damage if you're comfortable and effective with a damage. I run frontline Moji. I run frontline Moji into oblivion because frontline Moji is OP as fuck and hard to kill. Why? Because Moji is very good anti-tank. Tanks like to be in close range. I like to be in close range. Tanks like sustain. I have sustain. I've got a 55% life rip build and Magic Bear giving me 2 seconds of damage of complete damage, CC, whatever the hell you want to call it, immunity. And if they're attacking me through it, that gives me even more life rip when I come out of it. I love frontline Moji. Why? Because it pisses other tanks off. It pisses them off. You have no idea how mad Makoas and Fernandos and Anaras get when I'm in their face saying, no, I'm not going after your healer, I'm going after you. Zoning, force outs, juggles, counters, nulls. That's the key to your success if you want to beat a frontline. What was I going to switch to? I know I was going to switch to somebody here. A lot of people now want to talk about what kind of abilities are effective. You look Maeve with Street Justice. Actually, by the way, I think I can actually go back to the champion select screen. I think that'd probably be easier. I'm done with the show and tell sort of shit. Because all I'm doing really is talking over. I'm talking over, I'm playing for the camera. And all that weird ass shit, so I'm tired, there's gonna be some swearing. But looking at this, so looking at your champions, Maeve, Street Justice, a lot of people say that's a very effective counter. Oh, it's an anti-frontline option that she has to have. You know what? I don't mind Street Justice being an option, but don't think that that's your only counter as Maeve. Don't think that, oh, I'm Maeve, I have to run Street Justice to counter. You do have headshot damage on your daggers. You do 1,200 damage at that point. If you land both of your daggers, you do get headshot damage on your daggers. That's something I think you don't realize. A lot of people don't like the double pounce thing where you, it's a dagger, you do dagger, pounce, 9 lives, pounce, dagger. That's a good finishing combo. That works quite effectively. It's more effective with Street Justice, obviously, but don't think that you have to play Street Justice just to be effective. You want to know something that Maeve has a problem with? Yes, she does Street Justice very well. She doesn't really have a way to force out a tank off the point. Same thing with Buck. Buck does if you're running Bounce House. You're really gonna run a Bounce House Buck? I know, you know, people tell me, oh, CC, there's a lot of champions that can remove CC. Not everything has to be about CC. Remember, I gave you 5 things. Zoning, nulls, counters, juggles, force outs. CC works around force outs and juggles. It doesn't work with zoning. It doesn't work with counters. It doesn't work with nulls. Talus is a great counter, by the way. Talus, Koga, those are great counters to tanks that are high tanky, that are, yes, high tanky, whatever. Tanks with high amounts of sustain to them, where they can kind of just sit there and take it, because I can burst them down very quickly. Now, a lot of people on PC are talking about the burst meta that we're in, to which I once again say there's no such thing as a meta. That's a story for another episode when I'm not as tired and rambling. Oh, who am I kidding? I always ramble. Overcharge is incredibly effective. Koga is incredibly effective. Bursting down, wearing down. I don't mean to say bursting down, actually. I mean to say wearing down. They wear you down. They drain you. And as a tank, you gotta see it. Zin is one of the most powerful tanks. Guillotine is a great counter to tanks in that you solo ult the tank. But again, it's not a requirement. Don't think that because you're a flank, you have to pick your anti-tank ability, because flanks don't always have anti-tank abilities. Like, let's be clear. Androxus does not have an anti-tank ability. Androxus does not have a single ability or a single card that he can use that guarantees bulk chunk damage on a tank. You could say his ult, that's if he hits his shots. Plain and simple. And one of the things I think a lot of people don't realize is, again, that fear of frontline, that mentality, it's understanding a frontline's mentality. Good frontlines are aggressive, are angry. They feel a personal connection to the point they're trying to capture. They feel, what? You're coming after my point! Yeah! And they kill you. Because that's their point. That's their job, and you don't get to take that. And damages at flanks that get scared of that aggressive, anger, passionate mentality are flanks and damages that have trouble with frontlines. I see a lot of people say Skye needs a rework because her build is bullshit. No, it's not. Here, let me show you. Okay, it's called Debilitate. So what you run is this Debilitate build. So I'm showing you this first, and then we'll break down the numbers on the other side. So you have cooldown reduced by 5 seconds on Poison Bolt, and you have enemies hit by Poison Bolt receive 75% reduced healing for 3 seconds. Why is that important? Poison Bolts. You fire 3 Poison Bolts that deal 10% maximum damage each over 4 seconds. So mind you, your Poison Bolts last for 4 seconds. And it deals 30% maximum health. We the Debilitate. That's 30% more damage. Now you're at a total of 40% damage. So you're at 40% maximum damage over 2 seconds. By the way, that extra 30% damage, which is basically 10% of the damage, that is only twice as fast. So it still lasts the 4 seconds. God damn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I shouldn't be doing it this late. Now look at your numbers. So, now you have a 3-second cooldown on an ability that lasts 4 seconds. Keep applying Poison Bolt. Buy Tier 1 Cauterize. That adds 30% reduced healing on top of the 75% reduced healing you have, which is 105% reduced healing for 3 seconds, which is the cooldown of your Poison Bolts. Constant 100% stack, cauterize, burst, damage, fuck you with the term burst. I don't want to hear burst anymore. I need to stop saying it. The consistent, constant damage against frontline. She doesn't need a rework. She's anti-tank. Don't sit there and say, oh, she can't handle tanks on her own. Melt them. It's all a matter of being able to hit your poison bolts. If you can't hit your poison bolts, you can't do it. So that's some tips right there on how you should play around with tanks. You know, obviously a good counter to Terminus. What's a good counter to Terminus? Knock him out of his siphon really isn't effective because he can bring it back up again. He doesn't have a cooldown on it. So a more effective strategy is just straight up finding ways to kill him. Medium range damage is better than long range damage. At long range damage, he can predict and siphon damage. And a smart Terminus will run a build similar to what I run with damage resistance here, where the number of charges you have on your Calamity Blast, that reduces the damage you take. This build right here can get you 65% damage reduction, if you know how to run it properly. Fernando, Aegis is his best card for being a tank. We're not talking about damage Nando, we're not talking about flank Nando, we're talking about tank. Aegis is his best bet. How do you knock him out of that? CC is a great counter. Another thing is just simply forcing him to do damage. Forcing him out of his shield. Force him to endure that cooldown. Barrack's lower health, you don't really have to counter him too much besides just straight up damage. Removing his turrets removes half the thing, so a Tyra Firebomb is very effective for reducing that, but it doesn't have to be. Victor's grenades are effective. A Booby Trap Vivian with her sensor drone, maybe a couple of pot shots in between, all very effective. Makoa. Makoa can be very hard to counter if you don't know how to counter him. Pluck is as simple as CC immunity. A Grok renders a Pluck Makoa kind of useless. Note where it says your first shot after hitting an opponent with the anchor. You can't just use your anchor and then shoot somebody and get bonus damage. You have to hit them. And that makes it hard for Makoa to go up against people with CC immunity. Another thing that a lot of tanks will run, a smart tank, will have his own CC immunity in the build. Right here, I buy Resilience 1. Resilience 1 with this build doesn't quite stack as effectively. It is not 100% CC immunity. It's about 90% CC immunity for some reason. But that isn't a very effective strategy right out of the gate to do that. One thing a lot of people talk about is the ability to get cauterized in your build at the beginning of the match. Obviously, a Leon with Death and Taxes. Tyra has that ability. Shaolin, Cassie. They all have the ability to add... Not Shaolin, I don't believe. I need to check that, actually. Does he have a way? No. Okay. But applying Cauterize right off the bat is very effective because it allows you to get Wrecker. And getting Wrecker takes away a tank's biggest strength, shielding. To be honest, by the way... Oh, I didn't mean to press that button. Khan's shield build is not that effective. I mean, it really isn't. I'm not saying his shield is useless. It definitely has a use. It's just his specific shield build is kind of trashy. Where if you look, the cards you'd want to take increase the healthier shield. You can only increase that by 600. Increase the recharge rate. You can only get that up to 20%. You know, receive increased healing, stacking with vigorous defense. That's more effective. But again, your shield gets taken down just too quickly as Khan. And that's something to me that I don't worry about. Khan is one of my aggressive tanks. Charge ahead! Chuck somebody under the point. Spin around, firing line, shoot them with the 20% damage bonus, and they're dead. Knowing how to counter tanks is all about three key points. If there's 3 points I want you to take away, it's know how to play a tank. Knowing what a tank, not knowing how to play a tank, but knowing how they play. Knowing how a tank plays means you can counter them easier. Knowing how to get tanks uncomfortable. Getting a character uncomfortable makes a tank deviate from their game plan, which means you now have the advantage. That's why flanks are so effective, is because they don't have to get kills. Maeve doesn't have to get kills. She just has to get in the back line and piss everybody off. The last thing I want to teach is don't focus so much on killing the tank, which may seem redundant, as just simply contesting him. Your job as a damage or a flank is not to worry about killing him, to be honest. You just want to contest him so your tank can do their job. I hope the video was educational. I'm sorry if I'm tired and boring and everything. I'll see y'all later.